All right, it's time to actually bind my model to the skeleton so that the skeleton will actually drive the geometry, right? Currently, it's not attached in any way. I can move any of these elements and, it might move the arm up, but this isn't actually moving with it, okay? Well, I have proxy on it. It'll move the proxy, but it's not going to actually move the model itself, right? So what we need to do is, just like I showed in the last video, I want to go through and basically make it so that the joints are going to be bound to the skeleton itself, all right? So what you want to do is you can probably turn off controllers, just have geometry, the geo or whatever it was called, the main mesh, and then joints. And what we want to do is we want to go over here and we want to bind these over here. So go to where your joints are located. I don't remember which ones he did, but you should probably have a joints group of some sort. And we want to grab the spine. We want the chest. That's good. I don't think he did a hips override, but whatever the hips area is here, that's going to grab the legs. That one as well. We want the results arm, and we don't want the arm or joint. Okay, we don't want the FK or IK. We want just the results arms, and then we also want the hand joints. Okay, I didn't do a good job naming mine because I was trying to go faster through it. But basically, you want to grab all the joints. We just do not want the FK and IK arms. Okay, those are not meant to be bound to my guy. Just the actual result arms are, because those are going to be driven by the other two sets. Okay, so the rest of it though, you can go ahead and grab. Okay, actually might be good. Go to the eyeball joints here, and I'm gonna hold Control and click on this one. And I'm gonna hold Control. Oops, come on. I'm gonna hold Control and click on this one. They might still be lit up. It's fine. And even if they do bind, it's not that big of a deal. But we'll parent over those anyways, or paint over those. Okay, so we grab all those joints that we want, except for the IKFK. Then lastly, I'm going to select the actual geometry here. Skin, bind skin, hit the option box. So you're going to bind to the joint hierarchy. That just means that it's going to grab the joints that you selected as well as all of its children. Geodesic voxel is the newest method of binding the model. Basically, it's going to set up what the default weights are, how it's deciding what joints the vertices are going to be attached to. This is just the method that it's going to determine. Really, you could overwrite the whole thing afterwards by painting it manually, so it's just going to give you better results by default. That's really what it's doing. Geodesic voxel is the newest, then heat map, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so voxel, it basically just uses voxel. So, pixel is a picture element, right? So it's the dots that make up a raster image. A voxel is a volumetric element. So Minecraft is a voxel simulator. Skinning method, we're going to go ahead and use classic linear because that's kind of the de facto one that you normally use. Dual quaternion, basically what it does is it allows it to... It will not lose volume as much as other methods, but it's a little bit slower, and I don't think they even really support it in video games, so I don't see the value in really utilizing that right now. We'll leave it on interactive. Distance is fine. Now, by default, this is probably set up to 5. That just means when it's doing these default painting, when it's putting the default weights on, that a vertice can have up to 5 joints affecting it. I'm going to go ahead and put 2, and the reason why we're going to do 2 is that if you think about it, most of the time, like when I have a knee here, right? Let's say I have this vertice, it's only ever going to be affected by this guy and this guy, right? Those are the 2 that's going to affect it. If I go to the ankle, right, it's this guy and this guy. If you look at a finger, right, they're basically most of the time, it's just like if I select a vertice, it's going to be being moved by this joint and this joint. It's not getting moved by like this joint. That joint's not affecting it. It's these 2. So it's almost always 2 except for some areas. So like the hips area and the shoulder area, maybe the jaw, the clavicle area, those will be higher. However, I don't think we really need to, we can just manually paint that ourselves. It's easier to add than to remove influences. So we're going to go ahead and put 2. Make sure you turn off maintain max influences. We want to get rid of that. Remove unused influences. So basically, if it's it'll just, if it's a really low value or whatever, it just will totally disregard it. You can colorize it. Basically, it's just going to change the color of the joints if that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. go for it. Resolution 256 is fine. Validate, that's fine too. And then hit bind skin. Now, you might want to, I'm assuming you already have it saved at this point. Anyway, whenever you have the computer that's going to do something that's like a processing intensive thing, it's always a good idea to save it first, because those are the times that it could crash, because it could hang or do whatever. Now, that went pretty fast, actually. My computer's pretty crappy. So that means that, that it worked. All right. But yours might take, a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and put the controls on again. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's see if this moves his arm. Yay, there you go. So you can see it's moving his arm. Now, our guy is being affected by, apparently it's on the other one. I thought that was in IK mode or FK mode. Our guy is being affected by, the skeleton is now driving my model here, which is good. So, if we go down like this, you can see, right, that looks okay. So we'll call that good as far as the binding is concerned, but you can definitely tell there are some issues, right? So for one, this is always an issue right here. You're going to find that the shoulder area is always an issue, and the butt area, this area here, the hips and the shoulders are generally the worst areas. A little something going on here too. So we will fix those as well, all right? But we'll do that in the next one. So you have the default paints. Good job. In the next video, we'll go through and we'll try to fix it. I'll show you a couple different methods in order to fix your weights.